All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Thursday, June 19th, Juneteenth, here in the state of Texas. And really, now it's a federally recognized holiday. It's always been a Texas holiday. But anyway, for those who are celebrating or remembering or whatever you do on Juneteenth, I've got the day off. So that's all I really care about. Jake, you'll be stuck in an office. So I feel really, really sorry for you. On today's episode, we got a great episode for the people today. We're going to be talking about Manning going to Wingos camp and in the trenches of St. Louis. And it's made its way as kind of this viral photo of Arch Manning kind of in the, suburbs of St. Louis. And so also got some running back news for the University of Texas. CJ Baxter is back working out and at practice. And then we will also give a quick College World Series update. And Jake's CHANATACLEARS, is that what they are? The CHANATACLEARS?
I think that's how you say it. That's what they are. I don't know if I know their head coach said something about people saying it wrong, and I was like, I might be one of them.
Of course people are saying it wrong. Your mascot is the CHANATACLEARS. But we'll give an update on Jake. You said the CHANATACLEARS as soon as Texas got eliminated from UTSA. You said Coastal Carolina. I'm on the bandwagon. Let's go. Let's move.
I think I said it during the regular season. I went to that game. I was at a bachelor party in Myrtle Beach. We were a little hammered.
They have a history of they've won a World Series in recent memory.
And I got to see the trophy there. During the rain out, we line danced with people drunk in the outfield and terrorized some kids playing football in the outfield as well.
That's awesome.
So good memories of what I can recollect. And I've just kind of liked them since then because I loved the campus. The football field was really cool.
The football team is cool. They've always got cool stories about their football team and their head coach. You did a dynasty with them on College Football 25, did you not?
Yeah. No, they were my first dynasty in College Football 25. So I've been a little bit of Texas, obviously. I'm not one of those, my second favorite team, but if I had to pick another team to root for, I've always had a little soft spot for Coastal Carolina. To win that football team, that first football team that kind of put their school on the map. Yeah. Actually be the baseball that put their school on the map, but then that football team, and I just kind of, they got a cool mascot. They got a cool mascot. They got a cool teal field. They have some really rich donors because their facilities were unbelievable.
Do they do the teal field thing for all their facilities?
No, I mean, their baseball was a traditional green.
Regular. Okay.
I don't know if anyone in baseball's done like a different colored field.
Alternate turf.
That'd be interesting. But
I feel like if any team's going to get away with it, Coastal Carolina would be the perfect team because it's not that far off from a normal green field. That teal field feels as though it would be it would work in baseball. I think they should at least attempt it and see what, but then again, baseball has its own world of rules and regulations of do's and do nots and things like that. So who knows what the unwritten rules of college baseball are. So anyway, Jake, let's start off with some Texas news. Arch Manning volunteered at Ryan Wingo's off-season camp for kiddos in St. Louis, and there's a picture if you can kind of see it.
I'll send it to you. Maybe we thumbnail it or something.
Yeah, but
it's got the parental advisory on there.
It's got like the album cover of Arch being kind of in the trenches of St. Louis. And here's my thing. People are all like, man, my quarterback's got swag. My quarterback's invited to the barbecue. I'm like, look, guys, my boy Arch was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. You don't think he's been to a barbecue a time or two? Like, you don't think that he's hung out in the city of New Orleans and has that kind of culture ingrained into him? I don't think St. Louis is that far of a step back from New Orleans, to be completely honest with you. He's had that swagger. That's nothing new for him.
We talked about it when he played, the dance moves he was pulling out, his kind of vibe. It was a very, you go from Quinn Ewers, who's very reserved, led in his own way, obviously, but because with how the team followed him, then you go to Arch Manning, much more vocal, much more swag. much more swag, the most swag out of all the Mannings.
He's more outgoing and just kind of I don't know. He's his own person. He's not this prototypical Cooper, Peyton, Eli.
He's too fast to be first off.
Dude, all three of the Manning brothers, Cooper, Cooper, Peyton, and Eli are like super dweeby, dorky, just kind of like your typical office guy. Like if they weren't football players, they probably would have all worked a blue collar job and I don't know, doing some kind of tax work, I'm assuming. And then you've got Arch Manning. He comes along. This dude's ripped. He's got pecs. He's got a six pack. He's got traps. The dude is just over here, just hitting these all kinds of celebrations and has the locker room, wrapped around his finger and everyone loving him and stuff. And so like, yeah, the dude has some culture to him. He's got some swagger about him. And it's kind of insulting a little bit for people to be so surprised and put off the fact that he can hang in the trenches and not have any kind of issue with it. That's why Ryan Wingo probably invited him. He's like, hey, if anyone's going to be able to hang where I grew up, my hometown, it's going to be Arch Manning.
Oh yeah, and Ryan Wingo, I think he had tweeted out. One of the Texas fans had tweeted out, "My QB good in any hood." And Ryan Wingo quote tweeted it and said, "Nah, for real," with like a crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's going to be a little bit of a different vibe on the offense this year, just because Manning is
Jake,
a different kind of leader.
Do you think that the confidence is going to kind of exude throughout the entire team, that we might see a more energized, not to say that this last year's team wasn't energized or didn't come up to play at the bigger moments, but just, I think there's going to be a different feel to when this team takes the field with Arch kind of at the helm, being the leader of this team.
Yeah. I think it's going to lead to some really high moments, some really great moments where there's more explosive plays. I think the trade-off for that there'll probably be some more mistakes and probably some more boneheaded mistakes. There's always trade-offs with everything, right? I know Arch has gotten a lot better about
more risk, more reward.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be more exciting though. And that's again not an insult to this last year's team or the year before it. But I mean, when you got a Manning at the helm and then you have a Manning that has the ability that Arch does, it's hard not to be overly excited about it and just ready for August to roll around and start hearing reports from camp and, start getting excited for what is going to be, the biggest week 1 game, maybe in our lifetimes, as far as just because even when Texas always schedules really good opponents, but normally it's always week 2 or 3.
Yep.
Not week 1.
It's rarely, if ever, week 1.
And I wish this one was week 2. I've already said that. If this was week 2, I'd feel fully confident.
The only other one was Texas, Ohio State in 2005.
The national championship year, that was game 2. But they might have opened up in Austin on the second half, like when Colt McCoy got his
of the home and home.
Yeah, the back end. I know the game in Ohio State was the second game because Texas blew out some Louisiana Lafayette or something.
Gotcha.
I think it was Louisiana Lafayette. Something like that.
That was the only one that I was actually thinking could have been week 1, but it might have been Texas, Ohio State after Vince Young had already left.
I will have it here. Yeah. So, I got the exact one right. Props to me. Louisiana Lafayette in 2005 was the opener. 60-3. I remember that game just being a blasting and feeling fully confident going into that game. And then in 2006, it was still week 2. They beat North Texas 56-7.
All right.
Then played Ohio State week 2, lost 24-7.
I'd venture to say, Jake, never a week 1 up to this caliber before.
Definitely not to this caliber at Ohio State. Arch Manning, his first national champions. Yeah. His first start as the QB of Texas. He had some starts last year, obviously, but this is his first this is the Arch Manning era now.
Yeah.
And his first road start at the shoe. That's tough. And so, yeah,
What a better way. What a better way to write the story. I mean, the script writes itself at this point.
Yeah, and Texas just lost to Ohio State in the semifinal. Ohio State, a chance in back-to-back years to beat the reigning national champions on the road early in the season as well. Kind of another talking point that might fall under the radar a little just because Michigan was as good last year. I don't think that's going to happen with Ohio State this year like it did to Michigan. I think this is a different caliber team.
And I will always say, conference games mean more, and playing in the SEC and winning your conference can obviously elevate you no matter what you do non-conference into getting a postseason spot. If you go winless in non-conference and then you win out and you win your conference, you might get that. You have an automatic bid into the playoffs. And so I'm not saying Texas is going to lose 4 in non-conference games. That's crazy talk. But you have Ohio State, and then you start conference playoff 3 weeks later with Florida and Oklahoma. You've got a little bit of a break with a weaker dip in your schedule, and then you've got Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M to finish out your season. Those are 5 games that I'm looking at, Jake, that could very well be a game or 2 dropped by Texas this season.
Yeah, this year has a lot more uncertainty than last year when you consider some of the, the turnover at, key positions, especially where you're, replacing almost the whole offensive line, all the things we've talked about already a ton. But then you add in a just objectively harder schedule because Florida is going to be much better this year. We all knew Florida was going to be a year too young last year.
And hopefully they have DJ Lagway starting, and it will be at Florida.
And it's at Florida. I mean, that game is going to, because Florida, the thing about Florida is they could end up with 8 wins and either on the edge of being ranked or not, but be a top 10 football team when it comes to caliber of team because their schedule.
They could possibly be similar to what we saw with South Carolina at the end of last season, where people were thinking that South Carolina maybe deserved a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, because their schedule's just, they have Miami and the non-conference again as well. I mean, that game at Florida is, especially if they lose to Ohio State, that game against Florida becomes gigantic because you're already at that point, you can really only afford 1 more loss realistically. I mean, we've talked about 3 losses isn't possible, but it's not what you want to put your money on. So you feel like that's the bad thing about having an Ohio State on your non-conference schedule. The great thing is if you drop a couple conference games, that win boosts you up so much. You're probably for sure good with 2 losses. But if you lose that game and then you drop a Florida and you got to finish the season undefeated from there, because those are 2 games within the first, 5 games, 6 games, something like that. And you got to finish out that schedule undefeated, including going to Georgia. Yeah. Having OU still, who's going to be much better. Having Vanderbilt, who's not going to be bad. You go to Mississippi State, a little bit of a trap game. You go to Kentucky. You also obviously have Arkansas at home and A&M at home. That is, it is going to be a tough road this year for a mix of experience and inexperience, especially inexperience on the offensive end. Yeah. The defensive end feels much more experienced, while it's the offense. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together, but we're going to find out a lot week 1. Obviously, week 1 won't dictate the whole season, but if they come out and win week 1, I imagine we're going to be saying some wild things on our post-game show.
I can only imagine. And Jake, we'll also be getting back some experienced players who didn't get to play their first season against the SEC. So this is all kind of a new season for them. And that's running back CJ Baxter back at practice, warming up, working out with the team. He's apparently looking just about as good, if not better than what he did. Needs to probably get that game shape back in terms of his stamina and whatnot. But man, what a weapon to have back on the field, and could possibly be, if not the best running back on the team, could possibly be the best running back tandem in the entire country with him and Trey Wisner.
Yeah, you feel like the running back room is going to sort itself out. They're going to end up with a star at running back.
And what a luxury it is for Arch Manning in year 1 to be able to have that type of running back tandem between Trey Wisner and Baxter. Now, again, to your point, which I'm sure you'll make, the run blocking. That's going to have to sort itself out and figure it out along the way.
Yeah, and to me, the run blocking is going to be more of whether it gels. I think they should be a more powerful run blocking team in general this year than last year, because I think the interior is better at run blocking. I mean, Neto, that's his specialty from what reports say about his style of play. Cole Hudson at center, just a bigger body. That's going to be better in the run blocking department than Jake Majors was, and obviously. You have DJ Campbell, who is, I think, going to have a monster year at right guard. And then Gooseby, who maybe, man, I don't know. Gooseby looks so good in the time that we saw him last year, but his run blocking is
Jake,
just as good, if not better, than Banks.
I've already heard some reports that there are NFL scouts looking at him, and there might be a top 10 projection.
This will be Gooseby's last year at Texas.
Yeah.
It's as sure of a deal as Banks was last year at this point. And so I think the run blocking, I don't know if it'll start that way week one, just because the gelling together. That's why I wish they didn't play them week one.
Ohio State is going to be coming mouth watering, and that will be where Ohio State wins this football game, is on the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, because the pass blocking to me is the thing I'm concerned about. And the good thing is you have a QB that has some legs to him. But also, if you're looking at playing, hopefully 15 to 17 games, whatever that ends up being, if the pass blocking is not great, you can lose a quarterback. And that's one thing that we'll talk about more during the summer. But going to a backup quarterback is not going to be as comforting as the idea has been the last year or two at all this year. So it's just much more unproven, especially at a game level. So there's some uncertainties, but the excitement obviously takes over everything, just with Arch Manning's first year and getting to see some of this young talent step up. And at the running back position, you mentioned Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter. Jarrett Gibson could be the number one guy. Christian Clark could be the number one guy. They have some very talented freshmen who are going to take a poke at it as well.
Just stay healthy in the offseason. Just don't go into the season down 2 to 3 running backs like last year, please.
Yeah, last year we're like, wow, so many running backs. And then going into week one, it's like bubble wrap them.
Yeah. Don't run them. Don't run. And Sark has made that point, throughout this longer, elongated season now. You are much more, aware, and you're trying to, protect players a little bit more. We saw that against Mississippi State. We saw that against the UL Monroes. We saw that against the UTSAs, of not putting a Jarrett Gibson back out in those situations, and not running Trey Wisner or Jaden Blue as often as maybe you should. And you're like, why are we passing the ball so much? Well, we're trying to bubble wrap these running backs for whenever conference play starts, and we actually need them to be at the top of their game. And so there's already kind of been some of that rest versus wear and tear for certain positions, even in the new college football system that we saw just for one season last year. So really looking forward to what the running backs can do, though, Jake. I think Sark was pretty disappointed, not with the running backs, but just with the run game consistency. There were times last season where they didn't have a running game, and it didn't bode well for them. Arizona State, you couldn't run the ball. And that was a big reason why Arizona State made that such a closer game than it ever should have been, is because you jump out to a big lead early on in the game, but you don't have a running game you can lean on to prolong those drives. And so I think Sark is really interested and eager to get back to what Sark's MO is physical football. I mean, he never didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher under a season in which he coached at any point in his head coaching tenure, whether that be at Washington, whether that be at USC or Alabama as an offensive coordinator, or at Texas. He's always had at least a 1,000-yard rusher. And I think he's ready to kind of really get back to running the football, establishing that to be more of a consistent part of his offensive scheme. And I think that will also obviously help the passing game and open up the deep ball, which struggled last year. Sure, the quarterback didn't help either, but I think it's going to come full circle with this offense. It's just all a matter of it coming together and gelling at the right time of the season. And hopefully that's by week 5 when they play Florida. Let's hope they're gelled and ready to go by the time conference play
Even better
starts
if it's week 1.
Well,
But-
yes, 1,000% yes, but on a realistic, level.
Yeah, no, I think we're on the same page there. And from what I've read, Sark took a really, really long look at the run game schematically during this offseason. And they're going to change things. It's not going to be the same exact run game that we've seen from a schematic point of view.
You've got different skill sets to think about,
And I can already tell you by week 3, there's going to be people complaining, saying, why aren't you doing more read op? And I think they're going to do kind of what Ohio State did with Will Howard. Don't use Arch's leg. Allow Arch to use his legs on his own. But I would not be pulling out read options until it is crunch time. And
there better not be an Arch package like we saw last year where it's just him taking a handoff Tim Tebow style. I don't want to see that unless it's on the goal line.
They're not going to do that. That's not Sark's MO. And if fans complain about that, they don't understand the long game of the season and playing
career.
Or career, but also just the season, especially in a year where you don't have a just experienced, reliable backup QB to go to. But his legs will still be something opponents have to respect regardless. And I imagine they'll throw in just on a 3rd and 5 if they want to run it there, because Sark likes to run it in those 3rd and mediums, especially with his aggressive tendencies on 4th down, especially if you're in midfield plus territory, and you give that read option in that situation and the defense is starting to sleep on it. I think that's when you'll see it maybe once or twice a game at most early in the season, but I think that'll pick up as the season goes on.
Hey, Texas fans, those who are listening, Arch Manning is not Sam Ehlinger. He's
nor
not
should
Sam
he be
Ehlinger.
treated as
Nor
as
should he ever be treated as such. I wasn't even a big fan of the Arch packages where he came in and it was just a quarterback run. Last year, I didn't really even love that. Like, he should have the entire playbook at his disposal. Why are we just running 3 plays out of this formation for Arch Manning? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Again, he won't be treated the same way this year. He's going to be treated probably more so as a less designed run, but run if you have to / need to, and get down, don't fight for extra yardage type quarterback. Now, does he have that in him? Will he be coached to do that? Yes. But does he have that in him? Very similar to, say, a Josh Allen, where when it's game time and the moment is in the moment, are you just going to put your head down and try to run a MFer over? Which I could see Arch kind of having that mentality.
I'm sure Sark's trying to just yell at him every day. Do not do that unless we are in the playoffs.
Have you heard,
season's on the line?
Have you seen like the Joe Brady interviews with coaching Josh Allen as the offensive coordinator, even Sean McDermott with Josh Allen? It's like they coach and preach it every day. Don't take hits, and then here's Josh Allen come game time, just mowing people over, and it's like, okay, it's just in their blood. Sometimes they can't help it, and I feel like Arch Manning has that type of dog in him.
Yeah, you can tell with how competitive he is. It's going to be hard to tell him not to do something. But I imagine that'll work out in Texas's favor the majority of the time.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Jake, real quick update on the College World Series. Great couple of games today. LSU wins in walk-off fashion. Yesterday, sorry. But wins in walk-off fashion. And I mean, an ultimate choke job by Arkansas, or was it just
complete choke job by Arkansas. They had a chance to turn a double play to end it, didn't even attempt it, and then they also had not a easy catch in the outfield, but not a very hard one that was completely misjudged by the outfielder, which, by the way, I don't know if you know Arkansas's Omaha history. It's not good. It's a lot of chokes like this. They a few years ago or a couple of years ago, whenever it was, to Oregon State, dropped a pop fly just completely missed it and then ended up losing and not making the final. And now they have another one, and people are posting the screenshots of both plays next to each other.
That's tough.
And Arkansas fans are just like, it's like being a Cowboys fan in some ways, where it's just like,
In the playoffs,
it's not the fact you lose, it's the fact that you give me hope and then just absolutely annihilate me.
And it's again, it's not that you lose, it's how you lose also. There are certain ways to lose that are just heartbreaking and devastating. And this is one of the more heartbreaking losses that we've seen in this year's College World Series. Also, Jake, it's your time to shine, brother. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I'm just going to let you have the floor and just take it away.
They've won 26 straight games now, I believe is the tally. So they've literally forgot how to lose in baseball. And also sweeping your way to the College World Series finale, that's pretty damn impressive. And doing this in the NIL era, where just a year ago people were talking about like baseball might be one of the more affected sports where you're not going to see. And Coastal Carolina was the school people use as an example. See, you know, we saw Coastal Carolina win a national championship within the last decade. You're not going to see that again. And now here they are with a chance to win a national title. And then just kind of a fun fact, I was kind of looking up some stuff on Coastal Carolina. Chauncey the Chanticleer is their mascot. And that was adopted in the 1960s. They were the Trojans before that. Great choice of change from something very generic that a lot of people have. You could almost call it a safe choice, a protected choice, if you will, choosing the Trojans, and then going to the Cox, essentially. See how I looped that in there?
You looped it all together. I saw
and he got the name comes from the Canterbury Tales, the Nun's Priest Tale specifically. So just kind of a fun fact about how they kind of came up.
Now you know more about Coastal Carolina than you ever would have imagined knowing about them before this episode.
Somewhere on my phone, I have a picture of the statue they have of Chauncey outside of this baseball stadium. That was pretty sweet, part of the really cool campus. But I'm all in on Coastal Carolina winning the College World Series. I'll be watching it.
Here's the thing: is you've been all in on them. So
I was watching the game at work today. I was listening and having it on my other screen. I was getting pumped up.
I'm riding with you, man. At this point, why would I not? Now, honestly, you may not want me to ride on with you, because if I do, it's just going to end like all of our teams that we root for together, and it'll end in heartbreaking defeat at the very last game of the season. So, maybe not, but I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon with you, Jake, and I'm gonna ride it till the end. So, but it is gonna be Coastal Carolina and LSU in the College World Series.
Have you seen the 30-foot, 15,000-pound fiberglass tiger that they're pulling on the truck circling the World Series? That made the trip all the way from Baton Rouge to Omaha.
I have not seen that.
I'll send you an article. It is
great.
It's Omaha looks like. I mean, I was going to go this year if Texas went.
Especially when you get fan bases like Coastal Carolina and you get fan bases like Arkansas and LSU, dude, it's nothing but a party there. I mean, those are three of the top party schools. What else are you going to do in any of those places? Coastal Carolina is an underrated. I mean, if you see some of what they did with that football team and the mullets and just the WWE style locker room that they had, that's a fun place to be. That's a great environment to bring to Omaha.
You're in Myrtle Beach.
You're having a great time. And then you're in Baton Rouge. Now, Lafayette, Arkansas, there's probably not much to do, but you got to drink and party to have a good time. So you know that fan base knows how to have a good time. Hey, before we log off, Jake, quick news for the Longhorn baseball team. Transfer outfielder Aiden Robbins has committed to Texas. Arguably one of the top hitters that was available in the portal from Seton Hall. He batted a .438 on the season, 33 RBIs, 16 doubles, 5 home runs. I'm assuming will be one of the top 4 hitters in next year's lineups. And so really big get for Texas, and this staff already looking to improve on last year.
Yeah, they've gotten a couple other guys in the portal as well. We'll probably kind of wait until the roster's complete and do a update, kind of like we did with basketball when it's kind of all said and done. Do a roster update episode. But yeah, they seem to be doing really well in the portal. They've obviously done really well in recruiting. You got to kind of see how the draft pans out. Baseball's weird with that, but I imagine that next year's team probably should be better than this year. Talent wise will absolutely be better than this year's team. And that's pretty exciting.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode 201 on your All In Horns podcast, brought to you by Rogue Sports Network. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.